I gotta say, folks, it's been a refreshing year off from reviewing Sims 4 content, and I needed it more than I realized. It wasn't exactly my intention to go so long, but that's how it ended up, since I swore off reviewing game packs, stuff packs, and kit crap for my own well-being. It just so happened that EA took another full year to release a new expansion after Cottage Living, allowing me some much-needed time away from Sims drama and disillusionment. But, welp, it's back to the grindstone, since there's a new $40 pile of content on the table. High School Years, the 12th full-fat expansion pack to The Sims 4. And it's a pack I was genuinely curious to try, partially due to my not touching the game for a solid 365 days, but also because this is the first time Sims actually have the opportunity to go to daggum school. Like in person, controlling them during class and lunchtime and activities and things, not counting universities, of course. When it comes to secondary education, though, yeah, that's never been an option in the mainline Sims games, beyond some rabbit hole buildings and special events. It's always been pretty hands-off, so yep, as an old-school simmer that's a good 17 years removed from his own time in high school, I guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be. And that readiness begins with exploring the new world of Copperdale, an old lakeside mining town nestled down into an alpine valley. There are 3 neighborhoods to live out your high school years within: Rockridge Heights, Prescott Square, and Plumbite Cove, featuring an admittedly average 12 lots, with 2 of them filled up by the all-important high school itself and its associated auditorium. Both can be highly customized and rebuilt, providing you stick to a handful of guidelines as with other specialized lots. Unfortunately, though, high schools cannot be placed in other towns in The Sims 4, since apparently the entirety of Copperdale is vital to the operation of this one school, so teens from elsewhere simply attend the old invisible off-screen school as usual, or travel some unknown distance to appear at the high school in Copperdale. And hey, if they do happen to live there, then it's quite a nice place. Look at all those wide, perfectly drivable roads. Ideal for the long-awaited reintroduction of cars to the game, so teen Sims can learn to drive and oh wait, nope! Yeah, The Sims 4 still lacks usable automobiles. Driving lessons for high school Sims would have been a perfect chance to introduce them again, but oh well. What you do get is a heavy emphasis on teen fashion, which I guess is 2020's teen fashion, a subject which I know less than nothing about, so I won't even pretend to go all hello fellow kids on a topic like Gen Z clothing. What I can say with confidence is there's a whole crapload of it, along with hairstyles, accessories, and other wearables. Regardless of style preferences or fashion trends, the quantity is impressive. You also get 4 new aspirations and 3 traits. The teen-specific Drama Llama goal-oriented live fast and admired icon, and broader traits of overachiever, party animal, and socially awkward. All useful for teenage Sims living through the potential hellscape of high school. On that note, school starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. Officially, technically. In reality, the schedule is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules, with the first hour or so dedicated to hanging out and screwing around before class. A good time to claim a locker then, and freshen up, grab supplies, or decorate it using a handful of predetermined aesthetics. Then it's on to first period, in one of 2 classrooms, each with 9 student desks that are distractingly never all filled at once. I'm sure it's possible, but I've personally never witnessed a full class. I do like that some of the desks and furniture look all worn out though, that's a nice touch, though everything is still far cleaner and more pristine than any school I ever saw growing up. This looks more like a set from a Disney Channel movie than anything else. Basically, it doesn't look enough like a prison to be fully relatable growing up in America. That and lunchtime is entirely too jovial and free of judgment. Everyone is so happy to talk and mingle with everyone else all the time, with no one preferring to sit anywhere in particular or cause too much mayhem. Imagine that. Anyway, the 2 daily classes are brief and suitably boring, with the teacher droning on about unimportant things and students often distracting themselves with silliness and social media, with an occasional pop-up decision during lessons giving your sim an opportune choice that'll benefit or hurt their daily performance. You can also just ignore class entirely if you like, sitting there idly doing nothing but farting to pass the time and share the smells.
Alfonso.
Farting so hard it sets off the fire alarms. Now that's how you solidify yourself as a freshman legend. Or maybe that was just a scheduled fire drill, but hey, one can dream. As a student, you can even just get up and leave at any time, really, or cut classes entirely to go wandering the halls, trying to avoid the custodian. But you'll naturally be penalized and or sent to the principal's office for a stern talking to. And by that I mean they'll probably just play video games while you sit there trying to hold in your flatulence. Yeah, I've noticed a good number of weird moments, and I mean, being a Sims game, that's how this stuff goes. And teachers peeing themselves in front of the class, students opting for the floor instead of a chair, random T-posing in the hallways, or wait, that's a feature, not a bug. Yeah, the T-posing challenge is a thing teen Sims can do, because... as well as causing some relatively harmless mayhem. It's just a prank, bro. In addition to the usual mischief-related hijinks, you've got hall locker stink bombs, PA system overrides, whiteboard shenanigans, good times. Just be careful who's on the receiving end, as you may end up with a Bullworth situation on your hands, and Jimmy Hopkins don't play like that. Especially with more reasons than ever for teens to be mean and poke fun at one another, with the addition of puberty, acne breakouts, and body hair. And yep, the hair grows over time now, so shaving your bountiful body parts is potentially advised depending on your Sim's inclinations. Either way, toss a bunch of horny, unhinged teens in a building for 7 hours a day and dumb stuff is gonna happen, likely resulting in after-school detention. Though what does that even mean here? Sims sit around the classroom chatting and playing with their phones? How's that any different to normal school? Because seriously, the high school is more of a community hangout spot for teens in this pack. Student Sims effectively have free reign of the place, especially after hours with classes no longer in session. Draw wangs on the whiteboard, sleep on the couch in the teacher's lounge, flagrantly fumble through the principal's computer and see those games they were playing. The faculty never stopped me because, hey, school's not in session, so anything goes. Have at it, kids, no one cares. This is not a complaint, it's just kind of silly. Same with the auditorium that acts as a school extension on a nearby separate lot. Events like prom are held in this space, seemingly at the end of every week. Not sure why it's so often, it kinda loses its luster when it's such a frequent event, but anyway, prom is, in effect, just like any other weekend party, albeit with more angsty hormones and less booze. There's a list of goals to complete, but otherwise it's a mashup of dancing, selfies, awkwardness, bickering, and voting on the prom jester and royalty toward the end. Oh, and roast chickens. So many chickens, a disturbing number of whole-cooked chickens. And the party, of course, continues, minus quite so much poultry, at the inevitable prom after-parties held around town. Like at Plumbide Cove, just across the lake from school, a delightful little waterside destination holding a Ferris wheel haunted house and tunnel of love. All acting as new rabbit holes for Sims to lightly traumatize onlookers with messing around and woohooing. It's entirely possible to get banned from these things if you're caught doing the nasty, so, may as well have your picture taken to remember the days before being outlawed from having fun. A task which the new photo booth carries out nicely for a small fee. And hey, the local ice cream and boba tea vendors will never turn you down, no matter how many times you're kicked off the big sex wheel. Truly, everyone is equal in the eyes of sketchy food sellers. Perhaps not in the eyes of Sim parents, understandably, which may not be so forgiving or open to after-dark teenage canoodling. Thankfully, windows and doors exist, providing ideal passageways towards adolescent freedom under the veil of darkness. A more responsible reason for departure are all the after-school activities and high schooler jobs available. Football, cheer, computer, and chess teams are all optional options, each with their own related objects for practicing their associated skills at home, along with semi-frequent meetups somewhere on school grounds, which is nice since otherwise these team things happen off-screen. And classic part-time jobs like babysitter, barista, fast food and retail worker, lifeguard, and day laborer are a thing. But come on, this is 2022, what about that online hustle? Enter the fresh new jobs of video game streamer and simfluencer, each making use of the new entrepreneur skill. Streamer is self-explanatory. Your sim plays games online for profit, streaming live either alone or with friends for those sweet, sweet simoleons. Simfluencer is more open-ended, with the option to review so-called lifestyle objects around the house and post them online. These are limited part-time jobs, but the freedom provided in both hours worked and income earned make them super appealing for teens. And who can resist all that tech, from ultra-wide, curved, and dual-monitor setups to RGB LED lighting blasting your eyeballs on every available surface? Even gaming chairs are complete with their own RGB nonsense and totally not sponsored branding. Not all chairs are as illuminating though, with High School Years providing a good 16 chairs and chair-like seats overall. Impressive. And useful for sitting your butt down, wasting time on the internet. Naturally, side hustles make heavy use of social media, though it's separate from the vague social media option already in-game. Instead, each hustle has its own number of followers, unrelated to other platforms. On that note, there are two new platforms, Trendy and Social Bunny. Trendy with an I being an online fashion marketplace, and Social Bunny being somewhat Facebook-ish. Trendy lets Sims browse, buy, and sell fashion styles which come and go seasonally, along with hyping up styles to followers online in an attempt to manipulate the market a smidge before selling it for a bigger profit. You could push existing styles or slap some together yourself at the new thrift stores / boba tea shops. An appealing combo I wish I had for real. Peruse the pants and pullovers, tunics and trousers, and come up with your own amalgam of astounding style. Towniecore will be the next big trend in Copperdale, mark my words. And as for the Social Bunny app, it's kind of fun at first being able to share recent events online using a handful of emotional states and sliding into the DMs of everyone you've ever met like a libidinous lunatic. But it's not long before you realize it's largely a repetitive time waster, with only a few of the same messages ever being sent back and forth between anyone, and no option to fully customize what your Sims are saying. I disabled it after a week of everyone in town letting me know I should play the guitar or start a pillow fight. Finally, at the finale of high school lies a grand graduation ceremony, I assume. My Sims never actually managed to graduate, at least not with any pomp or circumstance. One opted to graduate early after the 15th time being asked by a random Sim over the phone, so no ceremony for them. And the other simply went to high school till they were forced to age into young adulthood, which kicked them out of school with no option for a ceremony, despite being class valedictorian. In both cases, a diploma arrived through the mail, and that was that. Which, hey, is exactly how I graduated high school myself, having spent my senior year attending online, so, points for oddly relatable realism, I guess. And that's the gist of the High School Years expansion pack. It's pretty okay in a pretty typical way for $40 Sims 4 expansions, in that it adds a variety of stuff to experience without rocking the boat in any substantial way. And you know what? Fine by me. I've made my peace with how The Sims 4 is never going to be quite the same as older games in the series. It is entirely its own thing at this point, and being run by folks with a production roadmap that clearly works well for their bottom line, so there's not much point in changing the formula. And so it's unsurprising to see that High School Years falls right into what I've come to expect from Sims 4 expansions. A straightforward extension of core gameplay that doesn't scream, "Wow, this is game-changing," but instead whispers, "Hey, this is sort of fun to mess around with when it's not glitching out." And according to many reviews, bugs and glitches are copious with this one. I personally didn't experience much of that at all, mainly the graduation glitch, so your mileage may vary. If nothing else, it's neat that for the first time, we've got a section of Sim life that's more fleshed out than it ever has been. I know it's a trade-off compared to how things were done in the past, like instead of one big generation's expansion, now much of the same style of content is spread across multiple packs, though simultaneously the individual parts that make up said content are more involved and arguably offer more potential for emergent gameplay. So anyway, yeah, High School Years. Not a time in my life I'd want to revisit in reality, but in Sim reality, I enjoyed my time with it, however middle of the road it may be. I'd recommend the pack on sale if you're looking for a slice of realism in your Sims 4 and don't require anything earth-shatteringly different from the status quo. If you'd like to check out my previous Sims videos, I've got far too many of them, and if you like this style of video, then do check out my others. I cover lots of computer gaming related things here on LGR, so I hope you stick around. And of course, thank you for watching.